Hey there, multi-prep teachers. You know how professional development never seems to quite get to what we need? It's like, great idea, but how do I make this work when I have 3+ preps to juggle? That's exactly why I created the Simplify Your Preps Collective. It's a free Facebook group built just for teachers like you, where we share tips, resources, and real talk about making multi-prep teaching less overwhelming and more doable. Sound like your kind of space? Head to kristenmasick.com/collective and join us today. Let's simplify together. Welcome to the Secondary Teacher Podcast, the podcast for middle and high school teachers juggling multiple preps to get the strategies to reduce overwhelm so that you don't have to choose between being an effective teacher and prioritizing important relationships. I'm your host, Kristen Masick, a 10-year high school engineering teacher, former middle school assistant principal, and teacher coach. Every week, we will discuss strategies, systems, and time-saving tips to help you not only survive but thrive as a multiple prep teacher. I admit that when I was first teaching, I was so overwhelmed with all of the planning that I needed to do for all of my different classes that I tended to cut things out. Or I don't know if it was really like cutting things out, but I definitely didn't do the standards justice. I would literally I could sit there and stare during my planning period and not really know what I should be doing. Or better yet, I would go and check my mailbox, so I would get completely derailed and distracted by the secretaries in the office so that I didn't have to plan. And then I would just try to find whatever I could find quickly, regardless of whether or not it really met my standards for that class. Now that we are in October and the honeymoon phase has worn off, maybe the planning that you did over the summer, you have already gone through everything that you had planned. If you had done the first 10 days of school or your first unit, that's now over. So this is the time that we start having really that slump in the school year, because it's kind of like crap has hit the fan and the realization has set in that this job is really hard to do. And then you add the multiple prep part onto it and it's even harder. So today we are going to be talking about planning faster without sacrificing quality, because the whole idea is to get you to do less, but you're still going to be doing it well. Right now, you're juggling 100 things at once, and every time you think you've got your plan nailed down, a new curveball is thrown your way. Does this sound familiar? Today, I'm sharing a secret strategy to get you from planning done faster without cutting corners or compromising the engagement and impact you want for your student. I remember I was teaching a careers class that actually didn't have any standards, and it butted up with driver's ed that was being taught. So there really wasn't anything for me to go on. And I remember over planning or planning so much, I guess, and let me explain. I had spent hours, and actually I may have spent days planning for this amazing unit that my career students were going to have. It was going to be a careers investigation thing. It was going to take them several class periods to complete. And I made all these worksheets, a lot of different things. And I remember being so pumped and excited because up to that point, I was really struggling to even fill a class period. And so I was thinking, okay, this is going to be the unit that I will be consistently teaching bell to bell every single day. That didn't happen. Because what really happened is I presented the information to my students and they got it done in less than a class period. What was I supposed to do? I had spent so much time, and honestly, that discouraged me from putting a lot of effort into any of my other classes, because now I had spent, if I remember right, it was several days and I was focused solely on this one class, and so I let the other classes kind of fall to the side. And now I had nothing to do in that class, but then nothing to do in my other classes as well. So I felt like I was just on this hamster wheel of planning, and then since it was early in the school year, it just kind of spiraled out of control. It wasn't until I created a system that worked for me when it came to lesson planning and being able to do things repetitively that the overwhelm lessened. And right now is a fabulous time because AI can actually help you create that system, or if you've created that system, it can help you implement that system over and over again as your teaching assistant. It will take on the grunt work like drafting outlines and suggesting lesson structures and other things that are things that you probably don't want to be doing on a day-to-day basis. And it allows you to then still have that creativity and expertise at the core of every lesson plan. Imagine you had a planning assistant who could help you draft your lesson plans, tweak them to fit your standards, and even suggest activities that fit your teaching style. You'd get your time back and still show up as the amazing teacher you are. It's not about replacing you. It's about amplifying what you already do well, giving you more time and headspace to be you and also connect with your students. One of the concepts that is very difficult to do, or that I had difficulty doing when I was teaching multiple preps, was differentiating, because it was hard enough for me to be planning for so many different classes. Now, if I were to try to plan within each of those classes, it just wasn't going to happen. So when you are using something like AI as your teaching assistant, you can have a base lesson plan that you give your AI and ask it to differentiate for you. Awesome. Saves you tons of time. I've got a quick challenge for you. I want you to grab one lesson that you are about to teach this week, and I want you to take 10 minutes with any sort of language-based GPT or AI. That could be ChatGPT or a lot of the different AI tools that schools are now using. They typically have a section where they have either there's something, it might be called a teaching assistant, or where it's a freestyle, somewhere where you can have that conversation with the AI. And I want you to see what it suggests for differentiating it for your different preps. Before, my example I gave was differentiating within your class period. Now I want you to take that one lesson and see if you can give the idea, that basic structure of that lesson, and then ask it to apply it to your other classes that you're teaching. So giving them that information that these are the topics that I'm going to be teaching, or even maybe it's the structures or the strategies that you use between the two, and just see what it comes out with and keep track of how long this takes you, because I would imagine that you've just created 3 lesson plans in less than 30 minutes. If you're tired of going it alone, feeling overwhelmed and wishing you had more help, don't wait. The workshop is going on now. I'll show you how to use AI to cut down your planning time without cutting corners. Click the link in the show notes to save your spot.